Hello and welcome. I'm Exolite and this is my channel, and today I'm going to tell you about something confusing, spooky, weird, and I'd like it if you would leave comments below and tell me what you think this is about. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe if you're not subscribed. It really helps my channel. Here we go. So, I was watching Unsolved Mysteries last week, and if you haven't watched the new season, there's two episodes that I found particularly interesting. One was a really well put together video about the Roswell incident. So I had never heard all of these interviews put in one place together. It was really, really good, really interesting, very educational. If you haven't watched it on Netflix, please go and do so. And then I watched something even stranger, and it was about cow mutilations. Now, I do nothing about cow mutilations. I know nothing about cows. I know, I live in Texas, but I don't live on a ranch. That's just TV. Well, we're going to talk about Texas today. Those cow mutilations had to do with Wyoming, and Oregon had a bunch of them, Colorado, I believe, and they were all done the exact same way. The exact same things were missing, and it was so creepy because it looked like someone just stunned the cow. There was a cow who was just sitting with its head up, dead. Looked like it was just sitting in a pasture, totally fine. Dead and mutilated. At the end of the show, I started thinking, I feel like I've heard about that in Texas. And then they mentioned it, that in 2023, there was a string of cow mutilations. There are actual investigators that this is their job. They go and check out these mutilations, compile information, and try and find out who or what it is. The ranch owners that they interviewed have the whole range of somebody drugged the animal to UFOs and aliens, because when they're in the grass, there are no footprints around the animal. None. No blood on the ground. Zero. And some of the cows have been moved several pastures away from where they had been without any drag marks, and again, any trail, any footprints, any blood. So is also a vet who they interview in that video, who's trying to figure out what it is, saying that she's never seen anything like this before in her life. Some of the ranchers think that maybe it has to do with Satan worship. Um, you know, we're going to talk about it, and then you guys leave notes below and tell me what you think. I think one thing, and we'll get into that in a little while, okay? 6 cows were found dead and mutilated along a state highway in east central Texas. They had their tongues completely removed, and it prompted an investigation by the county sheriff's office. But not just removed. The whole side of the cow's jaw and the is it fur? Skin would be cut out. It would look like an exhibit of what the inside of a cow's mouth would look like. And according to the vet, it's very, very hard to get the entire tongue out of a cow, out of anything. It goes down pretty deep. And it's not just cut off on part of the tongue, like the tongue is missing. So ranchers in Madison County had first reported a 6-year-old longhorn cross cow lying on her side, dead and mutilated. And that was from a release from the Madison County Sheriff's Office. The cow's tongue was removed with no blood spill, a straight, clean cut with very precise precision, and had been made to remove the hide around the cow's mouth on one side. If I would just stop talking, I would have told you. You could have learned that without me telling you early. Now, several people say that the precise incision is actually something like a laser with extremely high heat that can do something like this with such precision. There's no start and stop points as if it was a knife. It's just smooth, surgically smooth. While they were looking into the Longhorn Cross's death, investigators learned of 5 other cows that were also found in a similarly brutal condition. Each cow was from a different pasture and a different herd. It was found at different locations along the area of State Highway near Brazos and Robertson's County. One of the 2 cows had a circular cut. It was made around his anus, or her anus, and genitals. Now this, according to the information that I learned from watching Unsolved Mysteries, so I'm practically an expert right now, was very common in those other cows. Tongue gone, round circle, taking the anus, genitalia, gone from the cow. No blood. There was no signs that the cows had struggled, and I don't know how many of us have ever come into contact with an actual cow, but they're skittish. Like, you can't, in general, walk up to a cow and just tell it to sit down and hold still while you cut its genitals off and half of its face. They're huge. So if they start coming at you, that's a dangerous situation, right? So they they can't test the blood because the explanation is that it's been sitting in the cow, coagulating, and has, gotten bacteria and stuff in it. So it's ruined. There would be no sign of any kind of a dart that had been shot into the cow or something that had been, put in the cow's mouth. They just have no way. And they have also not found any marks where there would be a dart in the cow. So the sheriff's office says that has been coordinating with other law enforcement agencies, FBI, and a whole bunch of different things, on multiple similar incidents across the U.S. The cause of death of all of these cows, all of these, including the ones in Texas, remains completely unknown. So they're asking for anybody with any information to call and let them know. Keep in mind that the cattle ranchers themselves use horses and like 4x4s, 3-wheelers to go out into these pastures to get the cows. It's not just a simple walk. And there's no prints at all. No prints. Other than the grass that the cow is sitting on or laying on, nothing else is down. It is so scary to me. I don't believe that it is people going out and doing this because there's literally no evidence of humans being there. There's no evidence. And these cows were perfectly healthy. They were not sick. And yet they're laying there. Almost all of them are laying down, except for that one I told you about that was sitting up. If you want to go watch that episode, I would suggest it. It's the spooky time of year. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. That cow was sitting exactly like a cow would be on any day, just sitting on the ground with its head in the air, frozen stiff. How does that even happen? They say that maybe it, with a dart they could put a drug in there that coagulates the blood really, really quickly so that there wouldn't be a lot of blood around. But why? If you're going to be out here doing this and you're not going to get caught, what do you care about the blood getting out onto the ground? So I don't think it's people. And I might sound like a nut job here in a second. We know there are UFOs. Our government tells us there are UFOs. You can go onto YouTube any time of the day and find real videos, not just doctored, pretend ones, real ones put out by the government and um, people who are flying jets. And in 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, our government said, hey, by the way, we've had this thing where we were investigating UFOs. We have UFOs. Yeah. But everybody was so targeted on the pandemic, obviously, that we were like, yeah, we're trying to stay alive right now. Get back to me about the UFOs. So we know that they're here. Why would they take the anus and the genitals? Why would they remove the tongue? In exactly the same way to hundreds of cows. But, you know, yeah, why would they? Is it an occult? And this is some sort of a Satan worshipping something or other? Well, no, because there's no marks. And wouldn't they just drain the blood? I mean, I I don't belong to any satanic cults, and I don't think I know anybody who does, but I feel like other things besides half of a mouth and the tongue and an anus and genitals would be needed for, you know, any kind of a, I can't even think of the word, double session. So put down below, what do you think of this? Tell me if you watched that episode and went, holy shit, something's crazy. It's crazy out there. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for listening to this if you have gotten this far. And yeah, leave a comment. Good night. Sleep tight.